Thank you, Father Rifus. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was the longest reigning British monarch. For 70 years, her life was devoted to her people, to the UK, to Montserrat and all overseas territories and the whole Commonwealth. Today, the Royal Montserrat Defence Force and the Royal Montserrat Police Force help us mark her passing with a 96-gun salute, one for each year of her life, led today by Lieutenant Colonel Alvin Ryan. I invite you all to observe in silence and stand with me as Governor of Montserrat as we honour her reign and give thanks for her dedication, her commitment and her service to us all.
This morning for this military parade, where the feature would be a 96-gun salute on behalf of marking each year of Her Majesty's life. At the start of the process, we had the opening prayer offered by Father Carlisle Vifus, and then a brief address by Her Excellency the Governor. The dignitaries are now taking their position in front of the Union Jack, which is flying at half-mast, and we'll begin with a salute. It has been declared by royal order that Her Majesty the Queen passed away on the 8th of September. The King and Queen consort will now rule. While the troops are now preparing for the firing of the 96 volleys, the officer leading this unit this morning is Lieutenant Darrow. The troops on parade this morning are comprised of a unit from the Royal Montserrat Defence Force and the Royal Montserrat Police Service. Things are pretty much timed to begin in terms of the volleys on the hour at 8 a.m. Standing with Her Excellency, we have the Honourable Premier, the Commissioner of Police, the Commanding Officer of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force. We also have Mr. Tucker, the husband of Her Excellency, along with other senior personnel and Her Excellency's ADC. Attending this event, we have quite a number of government officials. We have the Deputy Governor, we have other ministers of government, the Attorney General, and a number of persons from the public looking around for this early morning event. This was arranged at very, very short notice. As you know, we're not allowed to have public plans for the passing of the monarch, and things can only be announced after the passing, which took place yesterday afternoon. So we're here this morning for one of the events that will be put on Montserrat to mark the occasion. On Montserrat, some of the activities that has been proclaimed so far. Yesterday, the flag at the Governor's office was lowered at half-mast. And the volleys will now begin. Volleys are done in pairs, as you will see. And for those who are watching us on television or online, or if you're hearing, the volleys are done in pairs by the troops on parade. What we are witnessing is a rather unique process that we had to put together for the occasion. So we have 36 troops, 32 troops on parade. They each will fire 3 volleys of 2. There we have the first total volley of 32. Now start the second volley of 32. This is an activity that is taking place in all the overseas territories at different times of the day. I think in the Caribbean, we'll be doing ours at 8 o'clock. The other OTs that will be carrying out their 96 volleys at various times throughout the day. There we see the completion of the second volley of 32. So we have gone now 64 out of the 96 that's planned for this morning. You're just tuning in, you're listening to the 96 volley that is taking place here at Little Bay playing field to mark the passing of Her Majesty the Queen, who was 96 years old. While the volleys are actually double, they're taken marked as one. So the process went a bit longer than we expected. For the hearing, those who are listening will actually get a chance to hear 96 volleys, notwithstanding in some cases, for the purposes of the parade, they are double. If you're just joining us, you're listening to or you're looking at the live volley from Little Bay Park, where we have members of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force, the Royal Montserrat Police Service, discharging 96 volley and the passing of Her Majesty the Queen to mark her 96 years of life. The troops in parade today is combined unit from the Royal Montserrat Defence Force and the Royal Montserrat Police Service. Dignitaries standing in front of the Union Jack, which has been flown at half-mast. We have Her Excellency the Governor, the Honorable Premier, Governor's husband. We have the Commissioner of Police, the Commanding Officer of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force, and the Governor's ADC. We also have the officer in charge of the Cadet Corps, Captain Colin Fergus, who's also standing with the dignitaries. It was a bit cloudy earlier today, and now the clouds have parted, so we're getting the full blast of the sun here on the Little Bay Park. The Armed Guard is currently being commanded by Company Sergeant Major Barry Carlyle Williams, and he's giving the instructions to those who are discharging the volleys on parade. The new parade is being led by Lieutenant Darian Darrow, and he's the one standing in front with the sword. Just wish to reiterate that this activity will take place in most of the overseas territories at some point today. In checking the calendar, the schedule this morning, I noticed that we are among the first to carry out our 96 volleys to mark the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. We're now at the last volley, and in unison, all the troops have discharged the 96th volley to mark the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. And there we have it here at Little Bay, the discharging of the volleys on the to mark the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. It was done a bit different. We had to double up what was called the volleys, two persons firing as one, to make sure that should any, what should I say, technical issues take place, at least something would have gone off in lieu of that number. So, yesterday we had the flags being flown at half-mast at the governor's office, and a proclamation by the Honourable Premier that all flags at all government buildings are to be flown at half-mast. We also had the governor's statement on the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. We had a statement from the Premier, and this morning at 8 o'clock we have just witnessed the 96-gun salute, or volley as we would say, by the Armed Forces of Montserrat here on the Little Bay playing field to mark each year of Her Majesty the Queen's life. Later today, we'll have the formal opening of the Book of Condolence, which will be at the Governor's office. And we were also told that on Sunday the 11th, proclamation of the new monarch will be made by the Governor of Montserrat, Sarah Tucker, at Sailing Park at 8 a.m. So we now have the final salute with the present arms from the troops on parade this morning. Right, and would have brought some relief to the dignitaries who are on hand, and I think now take the position as the troops will prepare for their march off. So it was sad news throughout the globe yesterday when we all heard of the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. Her Majesty was born on April 21st, 1926 in London, and her full name is Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor. Her parents, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen's mother, and King George VI. Her Majesty the Queen got married in 1947. Her spouse, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and he passed away in 2021. Her Majesty became Queen on the 6th of February 1952, and the formal coronation event took place on the 2nd of June 1953 at Westminster Abbey. Her Majesty celebrated her jubilee of 25 years of reign in 1977, and she celebrated her golden jubilee 50 years of reign in 2002. She then celebrated her diamond jubilee 60 years of reign in 2012, and this very year celebrated her platinum jubilee 70 years of reign. Her Majesty died yesterday, September the 8th, at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. On her passing, she had 4 children. The eldest son, now being proclaimed as King Charles III. Then we have His Royal Highness Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and Prince Edward, the Earl of Wessex. On Montserrat, as I said, we would have heard of the activities that have been proclaimed to mark the occasion, and I'm sure as time goes on, we will be hearing more about it. So, if you're joining us, you just heard us participate in the 96 volley to mark the passing of Her Majesty the Queen yesterday, and she was 96 years old. So, as we continue throughout the day, you'll be hearing more throughout Radio Montserrat and online on the activities that will be taking place. Coming to you from Little Bay Park, I am retired Captain Peter W.A. White, OBE. I thank you.